Hi, I'm Lynda Hafner. I'm a top producing realtor at ERA Key Realty in Central Massachusetts. Today's video topic, I'm going to talk about when you are buying a home, what is your timeline from when you have an accepted offer and when you close and when you can expect to move in. We're going to talk about that today as part of my Understanding the Home Buying series. We're going to wrap it all up in one video. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that the videos that I produce will empower you to feel confident with your choices when you are buying and selling a home. That's why I am doing this. I've done 10 other videos that go over understanding the home buying process. I plan to continue on to go over more about selling your home, buying and selling at the same time, and just explaining these processes to you when it's convenient for you to sit down and just kind of absorb it all at your convenience. So I hope this is helpful. When I talk about a timeline, I'm talking about from when you have your offer accepted. Okay, you can expect that when your offer is accepted on the house that you love, it's really going to take you probably 45 days minimum if you're using a lender. If it's a cash sale, then it'll go a little bit quicker because you can skip some of these steps. But most people use a lender. There aren't as many cash sales. So I'm going under the premise that you're using a lender to purchase your home. So you have your accepted offer, and the very next step is get that deposit check to the list agent. You either give it to you either to their office. You need to either mail it, drop it at their office, give it to your realtor, and your realtor can give it to them. One of those three ways, but that's done immediately after an accepted offer. Just to clarify, all of these dates that I'm going to go over with you, this whole 45-day process, most of these dates are listed in the offer to purchase. The problem is that I find with my buyers is they aren't familiar with the contracts. They don't know where the dates are listed, and they rely on me to guide them into these steps, which I'm more than happy to do because I'm used to the process. But this will give you just, an idea on your own of what your contract says. But please, by all means, check the exact dates that you need to get these things done that are in your contract. But generally speaking, you've got 10 days from the accepted offer date to the time where you not only complete the home inspection, but also negotiate any items that might need to be negotiated after the home inspection is performed. I've gone into that in a lot more detail in some of my other videos, so please check those out. Once the home inspection is done, everything's renegotiated, then the lawyers get involved and they construct the purchase and sale agreement. Usually the seller's attorney draws up the purchase and sale agreement, gives it over to the buyer's attorney who reviews it, and they review it back and forth a few times with the best interest of their clients in mind. Then they review it with their clients and they have them sign it. Now, there's a couple different ways you can sign it. You can meet the meet the attorney at their office and go over it in person. Or what I like to do to make things a little more streamlined and a little easier with people's busy schedules is I like to have them discuss it with them over the phone, and then I set it up to be electronically signed. That way it just makes it a little easier than trying to coordinate everyone's schedule, and it makes the process so that you can keep that same closing date. My goal is to keep you closing on time. That's your goal, because that is a very important date to you as a buyer. You're scheduling your whole life around that closing date. You're planning movers, you're planning people to help you, you're taking the day off. So to try and make all this happen on time, I do like to do the electronic signature, but some lawyers won't do it, and some people would prefer to talk to the lawyer. If that's the case, I'm good with that as well. In the timeline of things, purchase and sale agreement usually gets signed within 2 weeks from the accepted offer. And check your contract to purchase and see what the exact date says. Okay, keep that date in mind. And that means both the buyer and seller have to have signed it by that date. And if it's not, there can be an extension, but we try to avoid that whenever possible. And from the purchase and sale agreement, you can expect another 30 days. That's what it takes for the lender to process all the paperwork, do what they need to do to approve your loan so that you can actually close. Once the purchase and sale agreement is signed, your lender has the ability to then go order the appraisal. That requires you as a buyer to come up with the cash up front, usually in the vicinity of $500 to pay for the appraisal. Now, it is part of the closing costs, and you should get a credit out of all of the closing costs that come at the end. But because the lender has to hire a independent organization to do the appraisal, and they have to often pay them up front, they expect you, the buyer, to pay that for them, so they aren't out that money. So these are just things you want to consider and make sure you have readily available for when that time comes. And again, that's right after the purchase and sale agreement. So you anywhere between like 2, 3, 4 weeks max after the accepted offer. That's when that is done. When the appraisal is ordered, usually it goes into a system with the appraisal company, and it goes into a random list of appraisers as to which appraiser gets it. When the appraiser gets the order, he then calls the list agent and sets up an appointment to meet with them at the home to evaluate its value. And that's not done, you don't have to do anything. That's done behind the scenes. But what you will do is you will get the results of the home appraisal back. You as the buyer will get those results. The seller does not have the right to that. You're paying for this appraisal. Your lender is paying for that. So you and your buyer agent and buyer attorney will be privy to those results. And then it's your choice whether you want to share that with the seller or not. But the bottom line is you really want that appraisal number to make sure that it does equal your offer price or above. And then, if that's the case, you know that your deal will move forward. If for some reason the appraisal does not come in, say you put in an offer price of $250 and the appraisal comes in at $247, there's a discrepancy there, and the lender will not give you a loan where the it doesn't appraise as high as your offer. It has to be the same or over. So in that situation, there may need to be some renegotiating to make the deal to continue to work. But the appraisal is a big deal in any transaction. All the people involved are always waiting to hear, is the appraisal good? Are we good to move forward? Because that's how we know that we're ready for the next step, which would be the mortgage commitment. But in between the appraisal and the mortgage commitment is a lot of paperwork required by you, the buyer. The lender is going to be randomly saying to you, well, we need this, we need more info here, we need this paperwork. And some of the paperwork, quite frankly, is going to feel like, really? Do you really need that? And the answer is yes, just get it to them. Because if one paper is missing and one of these steps is delayed, then your closing is delayed, and we don't want that. So as a buyer, if the lender asks you for a piece of paper, just get it to them, no matter how ridiculous it seems. Once you've done that and you've given all the paperwork and everything is completed and everyone has done their part, me as the realtor, what I do is I coordinate, make sure all the other paperwork that the lender needs is in place, like the Title V, the smoke certificates, all the other paperwork that the seller side needs to provide. That's what I do while you're getting the paperwork as a buyer, while you're getting the paperwork for your lender. I'm getting the things they need from the seller side, and I'm coordinating all of that. And then we come together, and when the lender issues the mortgage commitment, they have all the paperwork in. The mortgage commitment, you're talking, it's usually 45 to 60 days before closing, after the accepted offer, I'm sorry. because it's usually about a week before closing. Ideally, it's a week before closing. I have had it be, there's one piece of paper. If one piece of paper is missing, they will not give you that mortgage commitment. It's very frustrating, to be honest with you, because everything can be ready to go and just one, meaningless paperwork in our eyes, but to them it's extremely important, is missing, and they won't give you the mortgage commitment. But once you have the mortgage commitment ready, then we have the green light, and yay, we can all schedule the closing and everything's ready to go. We can schedule the walkthrough, because the final walkthrough comes after mortgage commitment. Once the mortgage commitment is placed, once the closing date is set and we have it all set, then I schedule with the buyer the final walkthrough, where we just walk through and make sure that the house is in the condition that you expect it to be, that we're in the process of moving, there weren't any huge holes made in the house or anything like that. And that can be anywhere from 0 to, it could be the day of closing, which I do tend to do a lot, actually, just to make it a little bit easier with people who don't want to take days off work. We'll do the walkthrough maybe a couple hours before closing and then go to closing right after. And the closing is something that is scheduled with the attorney. That is not a realtor's job. The attorneys handle all the paperwork and all the closing paperwork, and you would go to either the registry of deeds or you would go to the attorney's office, depending on the situation. That is not something that can be electronically signed, and it's not something realtors deal with. So your attorney will do that for you. So that's it. Your timeline is 45 to 60 days. There are some variances depending on any of the pieces of this puzzle that could potentially be missing, and how long does it take to get that piece in there. But generally speaking, it's as long as you know what to expect and what your role is and what your realtor's role is, and everyone does their part, you're off to owning your new home, and woohoo, and you get to move in. So that's a great thing. Congratulations. And next video, I am going to go over the complex process of buying and selling a house at the same time. It's much more complicated than just buying a home as a first-time home buyer. That's pretty easy. But coordinating the sale of your home with a purchase to make it all the timing work out well can be a little complicated. So I'm gonna walk through that process with you. And if you're interested, please subscribe. And when that video is ready, you will be notified. So please check out my other videos. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope it empowers you moving forward so that you feel confident when buying and selling your home. Have a great day.